what we have to recognize is that we are all owed our own existence. That, you know, we, at a minimum, as members of an advanced society, owe each other access to the resources we need to survive. And there's somebody here today that's been talking about that for 40 years. And that's Karl Widerquist. He's a professor at Georgetown in Qatar, a professor of philosophy, and he's somebody who has been passionately and ardently working towards a federal universal basic income for years. So I want to really give him a big round of applause and welcome Karl up now. Woo! Thank you.
What is property? What does it mean to say that this land belongs to the city, that land belongs to the gallery, that land belongs to whoever owns the pizza place? Property is a duty. It's an obligation. And it's an obligation not on the part of the owner, but on the part of every other person. When you say, this thing is mine, you're saying no one else can touch it. You're putting everyone else under an obligation. Once all the land and all the resources of the earth were available to every one of us. Then, in Europe, we had an enclosure movement where they took the land away from the peasants who had direct access to the land, who shared the land and farmed it together, and they gave it to the Lord and said, you're just tenants. What you had was not a right, you had a tradition. And at about the same time, we had a colonial movement where they abducted the slaves, they conquered Africa, they conquered America, they conquered everywhere else, and they took the land away from the indigenous people and made it all into private property. Now, private property is fine if everybody gets a share, but most of us didn't get a share. That is why you're owed a basic income. Basic income is unconditional, but it is the farthest thing in the world from something for nothing. It is paying you back for what the enclosure movement took from you and what the colonial movement took from you. Not because some long dead person stole something from some long dead person, but back then they set up a system that says everyone who wants access to resources is under an obligation to go to those few people who own all the resources and say, please, sir, can you give me a job? I will work for you. I can't work for myself. That's not allowed. I can't build my own house. I can't hunt and gather and fish and farm for myself. I can't start a business or a cooperative for myself. I have to work for you because you have property and I don't. But we need, if we want to justify this system we have to have an unconditional basic income. We have to say, you pay for the property you own, because when you own that property, you're putting everybody under an obligation. If you put other people under an obligation, you got to pay for it. And then, so you're paying for all the obligations you're asking other people to respect when you pay your taxes to support basic income. Then when you receive your basic income, what you're getting paid for. You're getting paid for the direct access to resources that has been denied you. And you can buy whatever goods and services you want with that. If somebody wants to have more and they're saying you have to have less, they should be doing something for you. We have the obligations exactly backwards. Where those who have nothing are under an obligation to work for the rich, who have already imposed them the obligation that they got to respect the rich's control of the property. The rich should be working for the poor. And that's what a universal basic income does. It justifies the property rights system by paying people back for what has been taken from them and establishing a system where no one has an obligation to work for someone else, where people have the opportunity to work for themselves in whatever groups they want to create, not for this tiny group of people who are property owners. That is universal basic income, and that is a new system, and that could create something that is better for each and every one of us. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're right.